inching along because you're getting a semi-crash cleared up at Broadway at Jackknife. There's a lot of cleanup there and a lot to tow away. You're still getting by on the right side. Crews are definitely making progress there, but to avoid the delay, you might want to get down to Ridge. You are able to re-enter at Broadway to continue on the eastbound side of 8094, but if you're coming from the Chicagoland area to bypass all the traffic on 8094, you could use the Skyway, take that to the toll bridge. Your westbound Gapers delay takes you past Ripley to Broadway, and that's why you're stuck in traffic on 65 northbound, passing Ridge to that westbound ramp on 8094. Tollways, the Tri-State brake light southbound past the mile-long bridge to pass 95th Street. Crash there on the shoulder. No lanes are blocked. We appreciate all the calls on the WBBM Mercedes-Benz and Pompano Estates traffic tip line 855-780 road. On the expressways, our highest travel times on the Eisenhower coming in 52 minutes, 50 out to the Jane Addams, and the Stevenson getting outbound 39 to the Tri-State, but 47 if you're headed out to the Veterans Tollway. Your next report's at 4:08 News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Partly to mostly cloudy skies this evening, a low of 34, mixture of clouds and sun for tomorrow, breezy, high 43. Cloudy right now in Chicago, 38 degrees at 3:59.
Featuring the news that matters and breaking news at any time. This is Chicago's news, traffic, and weather station. News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Coming up in the next half hour on News Radio WBBM, a homeless shelter in Chicago's uptown neighborhood gears up to close its doors this summer. Officials still search for the source of a mysterious odor smelled over the weekend from central Illinois to southern Wisconsin. And Savannah Guthrie pleads for the public's help in locating her mother, whose disappearance has dragged into its second week. The latest next from CBS News. Sports Bulls are in Brooklyn taking on the Nets tonight in business.
I'm Tom Busby at Bloomberg. More gains today on Wall Street on a rebound in the tech sector. The Dow up 20, notching a fresh record closing high. The Nasdaq up 207, the S&P up 33.
AccuWeather says partly to mostly cloudy skies for this evening, heading down to a low of 34 degrees. Right now, cloudy 38 degrees in Chicago. CBS News at 4 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Cammie McCormick. There was believed to have been a deadline today in the case of Savannah Guthrie's missing mother. The Today Show host just posted an appeal to the public on social media, but made no mention of a deadline or a ransom. Wendy Gillette reports.
We are at an hour of desperation.
Anchor Savannah Guthrie looked stressed and held back tears as she spoke about her family's struggle more than a week after her 84-year-old mother, Nancy, disappeared.
We believe our mom is still out there.
Guthrie asked for help, saying anything that seems strange should be reported.
She was taken and we don't know where.
A $50,000 reward is being offered for information. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
Some lawmakers were at the Justice Department today viewing unredacted Jeffrey Epstein files, among them Representative Jared Moskowitz of Florida.
I mean, it's disgusting. There are lots of names, lots of co-conspirators, and they're trafficking girls all across the world.
Epstein's former girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, invoked her Fifth Amendment rights today, refusing to answer questions from members of the House Oversight Committee. And Jake Rosen reports her attorney told lawmakers if President Trump ended her prison sentence, she would be willing to talk.
On his advice, Ghislaine Maxwell respectfully invokes her Fifth Amendment right to silence and declined to answer any questions today. And then it says later, if this committee and the American people truly want to hear the unfiltered truth about what happened, there is a straightforward path. Ms. Maxwell is prepared to speak fully and honestly if granted clemency by President Trump.
Maxwell is serving a 20-year sentence for sex trafficking. There does not appear to be a deal yet to keep the Department of Homeland Security funded past Friday. House Speaker Mike Johnson pushed back on Democrats' demands to unmask ICE officers and require judicial warrants for immigration arrests.
The idea that you would have a whole new layer of judicial warrant necessitated before you could apprehend and deport someone is not a workable standard, and I think they understand that. I think some of them that are proposing that don't want any apprehensions of illegals, and that's part of the problem.
Cuba says airlines can no longer refuel on the island as the U.S. blockade deepens its energy crisis. Air Canada says it's suspending service but sending empty planes to pick up 3,000 customers there. Eleanor Watson reports the U.S. has taken another oil tanker.
U.S. forces seized another oil tanker overnight, but this time in the Indian Ocean, after tracking it for weeks from the Caribbean. The Aquila is now the 8th oil tanker the Trump administration has interdicted as part of its quarantine on sanctioned vessels headed in and out of Venezuela.
On Wall Street today, stocks finished higher. The Dow up by 20 points. This is CBS News.
Hey, Marietta, I'm doing just fine. Maybe I'll give you a call a little later on. How about that? We'll see what you're cooking for dinner, what you've been doing. Appreciate you checking in on me. Thanks, Marietta. I'll give you a call a little later, all right? Let's listen to some news, all right?
BBMNewsRadio.com.
4:03 Monday, February 9th. Good afternoon. Thanks so much for being with us today. I'm Andy Dane in for Lisa Fielding. Cloudy skies right now in Chicago, 38 degrees. AccuWeather says for tonight, partly to mostly cloudy skies. We will head down to a low of about 34 degrees. We'll see a mixture of clouds and sunshine tomorrow. Going to be breezy at times, a high in the low to mid 40s. A cool down coming later in the week. We'll have the details coming up in the 5-day forecast at 4:15. But first, our top local story here on News Radio WBBM. A temporary migrant shelter in Uptown is set to close its doors later this year. WBBM's Haley Hansen with the details.
A Department of Family and Support Services spokesperson confirms the shelter at the American Islamic College will stop operating June 30th. The college opened as a temporary shelter back in 2023, mainly serving families as thousands of migrants were making their way to Chicago. The spokesperson calls the closure part of a planned shelter decompression, adding the city's overall family shelter system continues to operate with sufficient capacity. Haley Hansen, News Radio 1059 WBBM.
After residents reported smelling something chemical in the air in the Chicago area over the weekend, authorities are searching for the source.
Residents are being urged to seek medical attention if experiencing difficulty breathing, dizziness, nausea, or other irritation. After 911 calls flooded into the Algonquin Lake in the Hills Fire Protection District, with reports beginning late Saturday night of a chemical or electrical burn smell. The source has not yet been located, and fire officials say it appears to be coming from quite south of the Algonquin Lake in the Hills area. The Algonquin Lake in the Hills Fire Protection District says that they are monitoring the situation and coordinating with partners in the region to gather more information. Brandon Eisen, News Radio 1059 WBBM.
Well, the city of Chicago one step closer to making everyone in the city a parking enforcement aide.
Okay, that's an exaggeration. The city is not going to send you a little printer or those orange envelopes, but a council committee has signed off on a measure to have 311 take complaints from callers about delivery and other commercial trucks parking in bicycle or bus lanes and immediately dispatch aides to write tickets. Wrigleyville Alderman Bennett Lawson says he's on board with anything that helps improve parking zone enforcement.
I can block the bike lane or the crosswalk and put my hazards on, and I know in 15 minutes I won't get a ticket.
But colleague Brian Hopkins says stepping up enforcement will be a challenge for restaurants and bars along Wells Street in Old Town, where there's no alleyway and businesses have to take deliveries from the street.
Just like bike lanes don't work everywhere, a program like this won't work everywhere.
It would be an extension of the pilot program putting cameras on buses and other city vehicles to capture images of illegally parked vehicles. It now goes to the full council. We're at City Hall. Jeff Buckles, News Radio 1059 WBBM.
Well, it was another weekend without running water for dozens in South suburban Dixmoor.
There were 2 water main breaks this weekend in Dixmoor. The village says after crews repaired one at 143rd and Marshfield, they had to work on one 2 blocks away yesterday. President Fitzgerald Roberts says about 50 homes had no running water during repairs of the first break. The village did not issue a boil order this time, but there was one early last week after a major water main broke. Roberts and other leaders have complained they still have century-old pipes after a $2 million construction project, and replacing the whole system could cost upwards of $50 million. Nancy Hardy, News Radio 1059 WBBM.
Lake County prosecutors expected to argue that a woman and man should be held until trial in the death of the woman's son. 8-year-old Markel Price was found dead in Round Lake Beach last week. Police say he showed signs of long-term abuse and malnourishment. The boy's mother, 33-year-old Dominique Servant, and her boyfriend, 38-year-old Joey Ruffin, are charged with first-degree murder as well as child endangerment. A social media threat aimed at a suburban Catholic high school is now under investigation.
The DuPage County Sheriff's Office says a social media threat involving Montini Catholic High School in Lombard was determined not to be credible. Investigators say the threat was posted on Snapchat Saturday night and targeted Montini students. Detectives quickly identified the person responsible, a juvenile who does not attend the school and does not live in Illinois. Sheriff's officials say they're now seeking juvenile-related felony charges and are reminding parents to talk with their children about responsible social media use. Rachel Pearson, News Radio 1059 WBBM.
A person of interest now in custody after police say someone grabbed a teen and took their cell phone in northwest suburban Palatine this morning. Officials say the teenager is safe. Police were called to the 200 block of West Wood Street around 7 a.m. Initially, officials were asking the public for help in finding their suspects. They later announced a person of interest was taken into custody following a foot pursuit with officers. 4:08, time now for traffic and weather.
Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, Isidore? Hey, Marietta. Sorry that you have to go through that, the health issues. I hope everything will be good. But, so, they're enforcing bike lane tickets by 311 calls, yet we just had a homicide on Lake and Cicero this morning at 8:30. Imagine... There's a term that you use. It's called, you see the cops right there? There you go. They're having a nice day there. There ain't nobody out here. Look at that. There's no stores open on this block, by the way. There's no stores open, so I don't know what they're guarding. See all the cops? It's called anarcho-tyranny. It's where the government uses crime to terrorize law-abiding citizens. They don't go after the criminals. So think about it. There's bike lanes, right? So if somebody parks in the bike lane, they're doing something. They're driving a car, right? They're delivering something, they're doing something. So the city wants to ticket you for parking in a bike lane and then have 311 take your calls as a citizen saying, give that guy a ticket. Yet we just had a murder at 8:30 in the morning at Lake and Cicero. There is no program to arrest the gang-banging, drug-dealing criminals, right? The whole news, not once did you hear there was a homicide this morning at 8:30 in the morning. Imagine that. A homicide on the west side. Another black person, most likely was a black person. This is the 42nd homicide today, this month, was just killed. And it's most likely a black person. And you're talking about giving tickets in bike lanes and having snitches calling in, right? Snitches. Spitzen. It's called Spitzen. Or Stasi. In the communist governments, it was called Stasi, East Germany, where the citizens turned each other in. It's part of destroying the family structure, right? That's what communism does. Communism doesn't want family, because the family will protect the kids, right, from bad things. So you destroy the family. That way the kids can get brainwashed. That's the whole point. That's why you see some of these laws, right? That you turn in a bicyclist, you turn in your parent, whatever it is. So that it's kind of wild how we're experiencing things that we read about in books when we were kids, you know what I mean?
See how it works at rocketmortgage.com.
It's kind of strange. So I was just looking at some of the crime stats. Thefts are up. Motor vehicle thefts are up. So it's strange how all the other crime goes down, but the small crimes are going up. So what does that tell you? That means there's some anomaly in the crime stats, right? I'm looking at some stats, and I still haven't finished my work, but I'm close to finish. I'll probably be done at the end of February. I don't want to tell people what I'm doing because they'll alter the data. So let's listen to the rest of the news if it's on. So there's crime. Some crime is up and some crime is down, but yet we have murders at 8:30 in the morning in certain neighborhoods, right? It's kind of strange how that happens, right? And now people are starting to look at the drug dealing, right? These are drug crimes. The lady that was killed last week got arrested, so that was a retaliation killing for stuff that she was putting on the internet against the guy that got killed. So these are all related killings, but we don't hear nothing about that officially from the Chicago police.
for students with disabilities.
These are not optional, and if we require our schools to provide them, the state has an obligation to fund them. Anything less is setting up our schools and our communities to fail.
Guzman says fully funding schools is how we, quote, protect public education and how we protect our state's future.
We actually have a moral obligation to lean into this moment, to not skirt and walk away from our obligation to the EBF and fully funding schools, and that actually doing both things, centering the experiences of our students and our community, will result in a transformed Illinois.
Carolina Garibay, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
We're learning more about an incident in Chicago last week in which a police officer fired their gun during a chase. As we have reported, officers were investigating two vehicles on South Merrill Avenue February 5th that they thought could be stolen. Chicago Civilian Office of Police Accountability released more findings today. Copa says a teenager ran out of one of the vehicles and was holding a gun. Copa says as police chased that teen, one of the officers fired their gun towards the teen. Officials say no one was hit by that gunshot. Officers later took the teen into custody. An officer was taken to a hospital with a hand injury. Coming up, a check of the AccuWeather 5-day forecast and sports news as well. It's 4:13.
So we have 42 people shot in Chicago, and there's 40 days so far in the year. So that means we've had a person killed every day in our city. And most of them are black. Well, we need to be honest. There's Hispanics. There might be some whites involved there too. But most of the people that are being killed in our city are black. Right? They're young and they're black. The last year, though, it changed a little bit. It was a little middle-aged. These old heads were getting shot up. I got to track that and talk to a few people I know. These older gang members were being killed over the last couple of years, and I don't know if that's a struggle between the young gang members and the old gang members. I talked to somebody years ago already about this, and he confirmed that. But I need to talk to some new updates, right? What's really going on? I haven't done that in about 2 years now, so I have to just check in with my sources and see what's going on and what's the violence about now on the streets. I'm pretty sure it's constricting because the economy is actually going down. It's constricting, so there's less money, so there's more competition for the little bit of money that's available, and just like in anything, and then it creates chaos and crime and conflict, and then that's why we see the higher thefts and the higher lower crime. So I'm gonna start looking at some of that. I'm still digging out my data, and there's somebody exploiting their child there. Seeing where we're at with the crime stats, and I think I already mentioned this. I've already have preliminary data that shows some neighborhoods seen a spike of 200% in crime. 200%. 200%. And there are black neighborhoods. There's some white areas that have zero crime now. So I don't know what to say. I mean, when I see things on the internet and comments on my pages, it's kind of I don't even know that we were in 2026, you know? When you have 42 people shot, and there was only 40 days in the year, in one city, Chicago, and most of them are black. That's some Ku Klux Klan stuff there, man. That's Ku Klux Klan. When you have 42 people shot and most are black, and no one does nothing about it, that's Ku Klux Klan. That's racism. You can agree with me or not. I'm an old white dude. I'm a white 57-year-old dude, right? There, man, right? There's empty businesses here. What do you want? What do you want to talk about, right? What do you want to talk about? That I don't know what I'm talking about? You can say whatever you want. I'm 57 years old. I got college degrees from Chicago State, Harold Washington College. I got a PhD in education and leadership. I taught in the city schools. I work at the Chicago Teachers Union. I help pass policy and enforce state laws and federal laws through adjudications. You can look up my name. I got court cases under my name. I got grievances under my name. I won millions of dollars. I put people back to work. I won discrimination cases. So You can agree with me or not. And then the bigger juxtaposition, I think, is this. Well, John, it doesn't make no sense. If we have a DEI mayor and he's black and he hires all these DEI people, right? And he hires anti-cop people and defund the police people and these social justice, whatever they are, right? Then how can they be the Ku Klux Klan? Well, it's simple. Go look at what Malcolm X said. Malcolm X was clear on this one. He was clear. There was no way. I once posted it up and I had a bunch of white people attack me then. I think I had a few blacks attack me. About the quote. You know what the quote I'm talking about from Malcolm X. I'm paraphrasing now. He goes, I know the white conservative guy that hates blacks. I know him. He's my enemy. I know he doesn't like me. But the more dangerous person is the liberal white with the big smile. That's the quote. Look it up by Malcolm X. He said the most dangerous person to the black people is not the white conservative, it's the white liberals. Because they'll hide their racism. And then when we're discussing it here at 4:19 p.m. on February 9th, driving around an empty downtown. You just seen it. Downtown is empty. Downtown, the third largest city in the United States of America, is empty. I get it. It's Super Bowl Monday. Yeah, a lot of people calling it, but it's empty. It's empty. And yet we have homicides, right? On the west side at 8:34 in the morning when people are going to work. The few people that are going to work and going to school, their neighborhood shot up in the morning. Imagine going to work and you see a murder right in front of you. Or a child getting on the train or the bus. They shut down that whole Lake Street corridor there. Lake Street was shut down. So imagine if you had to go to work, you had to go to school, I don't know, whatever you're doing on Lake Street there at Lake and Cicero. And now you got somebody just got murdered right there, right? And he got out, it sounded like he got out of an Uber car, and two guys got out of another car and killed him. So what's going on here? So they're following people? Sounds like a hit, right? Just like last week. I mean, last week was a big crime week. You had, 3 guys shoot up a car with a lady and her baby in there and her boyfriend, right? They crashed the car. After they shot the car first. First they shot the car. Everybody knows that, right? They shot up that car before it crashed. Before you seen those guys. So this car's driving. They shoot up the car. It's her boyfriend and her baby in the backseat. I heard there might have been 2 babies in the backseat. And that I have to figure out. I have to get the crime report on that. I heard there was actually 2 babies in the backseat. There's 2. There's an infant and then a 1-year-old. But I gotta double check. At least 1 baby. So that car was moving. That car was moving. I don't know what the guy's beeping about, right? And then he just switched it. So that car was moving. I'm talking about last week's shooting, right? So they shot up the car. That's when they crashed. And then after they crashed, 3 guys with machine guns get out of the car and start shooting the car up. Get in their car, drive away, and then burn the car up. That was a red Alfa Romeo, right? Everybody's seen everything I showed you guys. I post whatever I have instead of way. So think about it. Think about it. We have an 8:30 a.m. Monday morning homicide, right? Guy gets out of an Uber, gets killed. Last week we had multiple homicides, right? There was multiple homicides last week, one per day. But the main one last week was a lady was murdered in her car with her kid in it. In broad daylight again, with guys running around with guns. They shot up the car, they get into their car and drive away. There's no care about what's happening. So that's why I say that's some Ku Klux Klan stuff. That's Ku Klux Klan. How in any way can anyone even somehow make an excuse? And I don't even know how to say it. I'm trying to be nice because I had a nice time off, right? A week off. I was dealing with family stuff, by the way. Thank you for giving me that time. I appreciate you. But how can you, and then you look, Brandon didn't say nothing. He went out and did some fake thing on 79th Street. Some fake, I don't know what that was the other day. I posted about that fake. What was that? Fakeness. What is that fakeness? He just had a murder today on Lake Street. About a few blocks from his house. He's on Superior, right? Brandon Johnson lives on Superior. And, I don't know what cross street he lives on. I don't know what, more by Laramie, somewhere over there, I think. So Brandon Johnson lives on by Lake and Laramie. I mean, by Chicago and Laramie, I believe. And then there was just a murder at Lake and Cicero. So it's less than a mile away from the mayor's house. Come on, man. You kind of get what I'm saying? It's like, what are you talking about here? These are black people being murdered on your streets, 1 per day almost now in Chicago. 1 per day. Women, men, children, whatever. A kid just got shot. I don't know if that was what race that was. 10-year-old yesterday was shot in the head, self-inflicted. I mean, we don't see no charges. We don't see no news conferences. We see some fake, whatever that was on 79th Street with the mayor coming out there. Oh, yeah, we're going to pray about this. And it's like, what are you talking about? First of all, and this is no disrespect to the family. My condolences to the problem. That we don't have the whole story here. That lady that got shot up, God rest her soul, was involved somehow with that crime stuff. She posted stuff on the internet. I also have pictures of the shooter that I removed because I couldn't confirm it. I also have pictures of the shooters already. And it's all gang related. It's all gang related. It's gang related. Does that excuse the shooting? Absolutely not. No, it does not. But it should put it up on the top of the list of, hey, black people are dying. Black young people are dying. They're messing up our city, right? These gang-banging, drug-dealing criminals. They're shooting people up on the streets. They're shooting people up on the CTAs. And it's all related to gangs and drugs, and yet we're having, what? I don't know, 79th Street meetings about what? Praying, I guess? Pray about what? What are we praying about? I believe in God. I believe in prayer. But what are we praying about now? What are we praying about? What? Trump? ICE? Bad Bunny? What are we praying about? Huh? Bad Bunny, right? Bad Bunny ain't shooting people. And the reason I mentioned Ku Klux Klan, I mean, imagine if you're a black man and you're running a city where there's black people being murdered, wouldn't you do something about it? I would. If I was a black man, I would be doing something. Heck, I'm a white man and I'm doing something about it. I'm talking about it. I'm a white man talking about, yeah, that's not good there. When you have people dying every day and most of them are black, most of them are young, that's pretty bad there. That's not a good thing there. And it's related to gangs and drugs. So what are you doing about it? That's why I say it's some Ku Klux Klan stuff. Why? Because it seems like he's allowing it to happen. The liberalism, the liberal terror, right? Where they allow people to harm themselves. My wife calls it self-genocide. They're allowing people to harm themselves. It's like when they give them free needles, give them crack pipes, they give them tents. They give homeless people tents. A person with a salary drives around giving people tents to live in. Why don't you eliminate that person's salary and give that other person a house? That's weird. You pay somebody to give somebody a tent rather than give somebody an apartment. Think about how corrupted of a brain. And oh, there they go. They're chasing the drug dealers away here, right? They shut down the drug dealing over here underneath the train, and then they might be chasing the drug dealers away from over there. See that there? See that there? Look. So the drug dealers still deal by the Dunkin' Donuts there. I had some guy arguing with me that this is not a drug dealing place. I said, you must be the drug dealer. Oh man, that's a movie over there. They're doing a movie over there. See that? That's a movie or a TV show. See that there? But that's a cop. Why are we using a on patrol car there? That's squad car. That's on the pass by. Why are we using a real squad for security of a movie, right? That's strange. Right? Why are we using a cop for private movies? That's weird. I videotaped this and the cops right away jump on my page saying, oh, you're anti-cop. You're anti-cop. We always do that. They're not on duty. That's a cop car there with a blue light. We just had a murder on the west side and you're using cops to do what? Private security for a private movie? What the heck's that? And that don't look good. And then we're going to pass by there, right? But think about it. Going back to the murders and stuff. And they're out here. Some of these guys are still out here. And they that's funny, they said that this isn't related to crime, and yet they have a county office of crime right there, right? A satellite office. It's silly. So, you have mostly black people dying. It's mostly because of drugs or gangs. Most of it's gangs, right? I'm generalizing now. I'm not saying every crime is that way, and I ain't saying people deserve to die. No one deserves to die. 0 people should be dying. There should be 0 homicides, period. And you can say, "Well, that's unrealistic." Why? We can go for ultra realistic ideas. And there's some cops right there, right? Maybe I'll put on my radio so I can hear the radio. See, these are TAC officers right there. See that there? So tactical officers. There's a whole bunch of those guys in there, man. Right there you go, man. So you have a prevalence of crime, drugs, homicides, and it's happening into one race. And then that same race is the mayor. And that same race mayor says we shouldn't have cops, we shouldn't have military, we should allow illegal immigrants to run around our city, and if you park in a bike lane, I'm gonna give you a ticket. And if ICE arrests immigrants and shoots them or something, I'm gonna prosecute ICE. Yeah. It's kind of a strange thing, rather than saying, you know what? I'm going after the drug criminals, or I'm gonna go after the gangbangers, or I'm gonna go and do some things and try to make the black community safe. It's 4:30 and this is the news.
A low of 34 degrees, then some clouds and sunshine tomorrow. Should be a breezy afternoon, a high of 43. Cloudy right now in Chicago, 38 degrees at O'Hare, 37 Midway and the lakefront at 429.
If you need windows, you need Climate Guard. We've been making windows in Chicago for over 45 years. Purchase with confidence, backed by our price match guarantee. Great financing available. Visit ClimateGuardWindows.com today to schedule a free in-home estimate.
At Mom and Law, we know that when nursing home and assisted living facilities become careless, someone has to read between the lines. Bed sores, broken bones, medication errors, unexplained deaths. The signs are there, but nursing homes or assisted living facilities hope you won't find them. We've spent over 30 years making facilities answer for every single one. The good news, justice isn't just possible, it's within reach. Call us at 888-MOM-AND-LAW or visit momandlaw.com.
Chicago's news, traffic, and weather station, News Radio 105.9 and WBBMNewsRadio.com.
4:30, good afternoon. I'm Andy Dane in for Lisa Fielding, and these are the top stories on News Radio WBBM. Mayor Johnson's budget team offering an update to Alderman regarding the delay of a key pension payment.
This is Nancy Hardy. A Chicago man accused of preying on the elderly in one northern suburb has been charged with theft.
I'm Brandon Eisen on the northwest side, where Chicago's Puerto Rican community Monday morning quarterbacks the impact of Bad Bunny's highly rated Super Bowl halftime show.
And there's new data out on the makeup of who's being taken into custody in President Trump's sweeping immigration enforcement crackdown. Sports, the Bulls in New York taking on the Nets in Brooklyn tonight. In business,
more gains for Wall Street to kick off the new week. The Dow closing 20 points higher at a fresh record high. The Nasdaq up 207, the S&P up 33. I'm Tom Busby at Bloomberg.
For partly to mostly cloudy skies this evening, a low of 34 degrees. Right now in Chicago, cloudy skies, 38 degrees at 4:31. Well, topping our news at this half hour, leaders of Mayor Johnson's budget team telling aldermen today they intend to make an entire pension payment that's become a key point of contention between the administration and city council.
New acting Chief Financial Officer Stephen Marr led the administration's presentation at the Finance Committee, which was scheduled after Aldermen raised concerns about the city's decision to make half of an advance payment to city worker pension funds.
The first half was paid on January 16th, and the second half is currently planned to be paid mid-year.
Comptroller Michael Belsky says Cook County is still behind on getting property tax revenue to the city, and the city expects to make the rest of that pension payment later in the year when the county catches up.
We will comply with this budget. We will make this payment.
Committee Chair Pat Dowell tried to pin Marr down on the definition of mid-year.
June, May, July. It's a good question.
We're outside City Council chambers. Jeff Buckles, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
A trip to the grocery store in Evanston was costing a lot more than the usual amount for several people. Now, police say they've caught a pickpocket targeting elderly shoppers.
Police used surveillance video to identify a car they say was at the scene of multiple pickpocketing incidents at Evanston grocery stores. Last Thursday, they arrested 61-year-old Jerome T. Quick of Chicago's Chatham neighborhood after a 7-month investigation. They say he was the person who had been stealing the wallets of mainly elderly customers and using their credit cards right afterwards. Police did not specify how many victims Quick allegedly had, but he was charged with 7 felony counts of identity theft. Nancy Hardy, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Bad Bunny's halftime performance was the most watched in Super Bowl history, and Chicago's Puerto Rican community now sharing some of the impacts that come with that kind of representation.
We had so many customers, it was unreal.
Cynthia Pereira works at Jibarito y Mas, a popular Puerto Rican eatery in Logan Square, where she tells us that instead of the traditional pizza and wings, Chicagoans were hungry for the taste of Puerto Rico on Super Bowl Sunday. She says it's a good start for anyone looking to understand Puerto Rican culture.
Everything that we celebrate it with food. And it's always the same, our arroz con gandules, our lechon, our frituras.
Along the Paseo Baricua, Division Street through Humboldt Park, Lorenzo Taylor is the program manager for a youth initiative through the Puerto Rican Cultural Center.
The kids are excited, very inspired, just being so proud of everything. So they were excited, pretty motivated.
Taylor broadens the impact of Puerto Rico's representation on what was the world's largest stage over the weekend by telling us he hopes people from other cultures will be inspired to explore what makes them unique and find similar opportunities to share. On the Northwest Side, Brandon Eisen, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
At 4:34, questions being raised about the Trump administration's claim of going after the worst of the worst.
Less than 14% of the nearly 400,000 immigrants arrested by Immigration and Customs Enforcement in President Trump's first year back in the White House had charges or convictions for violent criminal offenses. That's according to an internal Department of Homeland Security document obtained by CBS News. The Trump administration has repeatedly said its crackdown on illegal immigration is primarily targeting dangerous and violent criminals. Jim Crisula, CBS News.
Ghislaine Maxwell invoking her Fifth Amendment today during a House deep deposition. CBS News correspondent Torian Small with more from Capitol Hill.
Mum's the word. More information about deceased convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein from his closest associate. Jailed co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell refused to answer questions from members of the House Oversight Committee Monday during a virtual closed-door deposition pleading the Fifth Amendment. Committee Chairman James Comer called the move disappointing, but pointed to at least 5 other upcoming depositions related to the panel's investigation, including hearings with Bill and Hillary Clinton. Democrats slam Maxwell's lack of cooperation, claiming she's angling for clemency from President Trump. She's serving a 20-year sentence for sex trafficking.
Maxwell was convicted in 2021. Well, the Trump administration standing by its commerce secretary amid calls for his resignation.
A growing list of lawmakers, both Democrats and Republicans, want Howard Lutnick out after newly released Justice Department files linked him to Jeffrey Epstein. The documents suggest Lutnick kept ties with Epstein longer than he previously admitted, and they say that's a serious breach of trust. Lutnick maintains the contact he had with the convicted sex offender was limited and insists he did nothing wrong. Stacey Lynn, CBS News, the White House.
We'll update traffic, weather, and low gas prices in the area coming up. It's 4:36.
Consider it done with ABC.
So, we have now what? What did they say? I'm trying to... Oh, I know what I did. I locked this. I locked my radio, and now I can't unlock it. I have my ham radio, and I can't unlock it. So we have now what? Unlock Baofeng frequency. So while we have what?
Invasive surgery is what they'll recommend. But here you will find effective and convenient in-office solutions to help you stop the need for Band-Aids and avoid dyslexia.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. No insurance accepted.
Now the lowest gas prices from News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Sponsored by PackyWebFord.com. Get 3.9 financing for 66 months, plus a $1,000 auto show bonus cash on PackyWeb's huge selection of new Broncos, Bronco Sports, and Explorers. In Yorkville, the Speedway...
No, I can't even change my channel here.
$2.48 a gallon. And in Homer Glen, the Sidco at 159th and Twin Lakes has gas for $2.65. If you spot a lower gas price, go ahead and give us a phone call, 312-409 GASS 312-409-4277. 4:38. Time now for traffic and weather together on the 8th. And here's the opening read.
There we go. We got it. Ready to go.
That is 08424.
Let's get going. So imagine this. What a con artist mayor we have. A black mayor who allows black people to be killed. One. I made my statement today on it, right? That's some Ku Klux Klan stuff, right? He's an ultra-liberal that allows his own people to die. I'm making that statement. You can quote me on that one. I don't care. Then secondly, he passes his budget, but yet he can't make pension payments. So what's that about? He just got that person wearing shorts in the middle of winter. That's crazy, man. You're a knucklehead. What the hell was that? So he got his budget, but now he can't make the pension payments. So he got everything he wanted. He got 97% of what he wanted in his budget. And now he tells his alderman, well, we can't make the pension payments. And then when the Pat Dowell says, yeah, when are you going to make them? April, May, March, June. They can't answer. So he's ripping off the city. What is he doing? He's not laying people off. Why? Because he wants to win the election next year. Next year is the mayoral election. Everybody knows this. He won't lay nobody off this year. He won't. Because that's what he's going to tell everybody internally.
All right. For info, the Pulaski Green Line at Pulaski, they have a threatening suicide. Originally, it's called in for a male acting erratic. Male wearing Hispanic, 20 years of age, wearing a Bears jacket, gray pants, black shoes with a mask. They just called back and said that he is hanging from the structure over there. They've turned the power off, but there's still details to follow. I'm not quite sure what hanging from the structure.
Lake and Pulaski Green Line, hanging from the structure, trying to commit suicide. You just heard it. You just heard that. Right there.
We're going to monitor that. That's the Pulaski Green Line at Pulaski.
Green Line, Pulaski, CTA, somebody saying they're going to commit suicide hanging from the structure. And that's during rush hour, correct? When you're going back and forth to work. That's the dope spot, right? That's a dope spot over there, right?
7383. 7383. Yes, Pleasant Afternoon. Let me get a number for Red Line Check 95th, Dan Ryan. Yep, that is 08459.
So that's what we got. And that's drugs over there. The guy takes drugs, he gets whacked out. And that's silly stuff. And it's all during the rush hour. They should have more police there during rush hour. Man, don't mess up people going back and forth to work. There you go. Got homeless people hanging out right there on the sidewalk. You see that there? There's homeless people. So they're not going to make the pension payments. There's homeless people there, and there's people on drugs going to jump off the train tracks. Oh, and a lot of black people dying in Chicago. Yeah, I don't know. And then people fighting, right? The blacks saying, "Oh, don't talk about it and pray about it." I don't know what's going on there, man.
Green line, Pulaski. All right, so did you see this guy at all? Can't see anything. Above the train there is a platform, so we're not sure if he's, on top of that platform. All right, time for him.
I guess we'll go out there and check that out, right? What do you guys think? So you have basically a corrupt, incompetent leader. That's what you have here. Right? And if look, again, I'm a white man. I'm a 57-year-old white man. If I was a black person, I'd be really concerned. See, what I'm concerned about the killings, but what I see is this. You see that there? That's a closed store there. You see that there? We're at LaSalle and Madison. You see that there? That's a closed down store. You see that there? That's closed down. Defunct, no business. Got that? It's a closed store. You see that there? That's a closed store. There's another closed store right there, right across the street. So two corners, right across the street, right from each other. Madison and LaSalle. You have four corners, right? A corner, right? An intersection has four corners. So two of the corners were abandoned. So that's 50% vacancy, right? There you go. Here's another one. How about that there? There's another store closed right there. See that there? Look at that. That's closed right there. You see that whole store? That's all wiped out, empty. Look at that. See that? It's empty. And you see that whole corner store closed there? There you go. It's closed. I don't know what else to say. Another one's closed. It's rush hour and stores are closed. They should be open, right? You sell things during rush hour. I worked downtown for many years. Downtown, you go out after work, right? You talk about the Super Bowl. You talk about Bad Bunny, right? I'd be out talking about Bad Bunny. What's up, Trina? Hey, have a great day, young lady. It's the regular, you know what I mean? Now Brandon Johnson says he's not going to pay the pensions. Yeah, whatever.
All right, and 002, just for your 11th district's on scene. They can't find this guy, so you may have already run off at some point.
Sounds like you ran off the jumper, right? All right, so we're not going to go over there then. So the jumper ran off already, right? All right, so there we go. 11th district's on scene, says jumper must have ran away.
3204.
Yeah, we're live right now. What's up, Treen?
Alright, and we're also getting a call for a person with a knife. Person with a knife at the Damen Pink Line. Pink Line at Damen.
Damen Pink Line knife.
Black wearing a purple coat, is armed with a knife. He attacked the passenger whose nose is bleeding. Doesn't say if that guy's stabbed though. You should be on eastbound car number 5204.
5204.
Station, nothing further.
Damen Pink Line, somebody's bleeding. They think he's stabbed. 5204 train car. Rush hour, right?
Adam. 786 Adam. Yes, can I get an event number for the Chicago Red Line? Or, I'm sorry, the Grand Red Line? Yep, it is 08508.
So we got people being stabbed, jumping off the trains. That's because of the drugs. They're all whacked out. They're whacked out, jacked up, right? No one's monitoring their behavior. I told you the CTA is part of the drug dealing, right? See, they deal drugs on the trains. So you keep them off. Do you think a drug addict and a criminal are paying to get on the train? I don't think so, man. I don't think they are. That's traceable, right?
I have that outbound train leave. The only person I have that exited that train on the platform is a shorter, male Hispanic, maybe 35 to 40 years of age, black coat, all black clothing. He appears to be fine, just going back and forth on the platform. Is there any updates? Yeah, we got nothing. They said they were going to try to keep the trains there, but yeah, I got nothing further. Just a male black with a purple coat with a knife.
Male black with a purple coat and a knife. Right?
We'll follow that train. Yeah.
That's bad, right? And here's the problem. I don't think anybody would have a problem with Mayor Johnson if he wouldn't lie, right? Same thing with Donald Trump. I always say I voted for that guy. I don't vote for Republicans. I'll tell you this. One, I don't vote for Republicans. I don't trust them. Period. But I voted for Trump because I didn't like Kamala Harris, right? I thought, I don't trust her worse than... I didn't trust Kamala Harris more than I didn't trust Trump. But Trump lies a lot. Like with these Epstein files. He said while he was running this second time, he's going to release all the files, and he hasn't. He hasn't released the files. Now what are you listening to? Oh, the chick that's in prison for 20 years is saying, I'll talk if you let me out of prison. So now he's going to say, oh, you want her to talk? He's playing a game. It's a theatrical game, right? So now he's going to say, okay, she wants to be let out. Everybody want to hear her talk? Everybody's going to say yes. Let's let her out of jail. So it's a game. It's a theatrics, right? Performative politics, it's called. They all engage in it. They all do. Here's the problem. In our city, I just showed you a bunch of stores that are closed. That's a problem. You got murders happening in the morning. You got guys jumping off of trains or playing games on train tracks, right? You know, why aren't the police stopping these drug addicts and criminals from getting on these trains? You know what I'm trying to say here? Why are we letting these people on our train system during rush hour? Isn't there no cops around?
01 Sam, I have it now at 18th Street, that Pink Line train.
18th Street on Pink Line, right? That's stabbing. That's the stabbing call, right? So Pink Line, 18th Street, that's right down the street here, right? We can maybe go over there. Oh yeah, I see cops running all around there, man. There's cops everywhere, but everything is shut down. I don't know. It's a little too late.
Sam, I have people swapping rail cars at that Pink Line, 18th Street. I still don't see that male black with the purple jacket. All right, Denver. 12th District's pulling up at Damen right now. Hopefully we'll get some more info here in a second.
Damen and 18th Street.
Rail officer just had isolated that rail car. So I'm not sure if that gentleman still there. Denver.
18th Street and Damen. That's right over here, right? That's my neighborhood, right? So we're gonna go down there, right? And how many of these crimes are actually being committed by migrants, right? You do know there's a blockade on there, right? That the police can't, in Chicago, can't say if it's a migrant criminal, right? You know that's, and you know if the migrant changes his name, you know that's covered up by J.B. Pritzker. It's all a cover-up. It's all a cover-up. And the Republicans are part of the cover-up. That's like with this lady with the raping.
He fled the station on foot. They said he was last seen southbound, and that is a good description. Male black, purple coat, and white shoes. Okay, yeah, 10-4, trying to stay in service inbound, and then I think I have EMS there at the Damen stop now. We'll definitely play that. Did they say what station stopped to get off? Was it Damen? Yeah, Damen, yep.
So Damen, Pink Line, somebody just stabbed somebody on the train. And he's running around the neighborhood now. Down Damen. You just heard it right here. That's live. So we just had a stabbing on the CTA. Just had it. Just happened. That's a live call. You're listening to the live radio right now. That's what you're listening to. Hey, I'm back. I was a little shaky the last month. They're looking for a criminal, right? So how do these guys get on the trains, right? How they get on the trains? How they doing these crimes? You think a criminal pays to get on a train? I don't think they do. I'm just supposed to... Sorry that went off. I have no clue why it's off. I'm in the middle of UIC Medical District and UIC campus. This is the highest area of internet. You shouldn't drop here, man. But it did, so. Yeah, whatever. He's doing whatever he's doing. Why didn't he release all the files then? Why didn't he release all the Epstein files? Why is he keeping 3 million files he hasn't released? Why hasn't he released the Epstein files?
Roosevelt, 1 eastbound from Central, bus number 8872. Ready? That is 08581.
Why hasn't he released the Epstein files? Right? Because he's playing a game with that stuff. He wants to get people commuted or whatever he is. This might be a possible migrant running around with a gun. Yeah, thank you, yeah. We're heading down to the stabbing down on the CTA, right? That's where we're heading.
Take it to the number Roosevelt, Reading, Green, 491, Adam here as well. Green line 08597 and red line 08598. 739 Charlie. 797 Charlie. Just make a note that Grand red line station radio is terrible again. Alright, time for it.
Red line grand radios are horrible, he just said, the cop. We're listening to live radio, by the way. We're not listening to Crime is Down. I might put it on the radio then. We'll see. I'm going back to the old-fashioned way. This is the way I used to do it in the old days. I didn't use the Crime is Down app. I used live radio. That's what you're listening
Let us
to.
know if we need to escalate that on our end somehow, because I feel like this issue has not gotten any better in the last week or two. I would recommend escalating it now, because the response I got last time was so lukewarm, and I haven't heard anything since.
So the radios are bad on the CTA stations. They made a complaint 2 weeks ago, and CPD brass did nothing about it. You just heard that, right? I'm going to try to get you that tape. That I got to mark. That was just happened here. You just heard that, right? Everybody just heard that, right? I'm going to try to get you guys that again, repeat that there. Pretty nasty, huh? They run around stealing our pension money and stealing our taxes. Black people down on the streets, they can't even get cops to regular radios, right? Pretty nasty people are running our city right now today, huh? Running around with $30,000 watches, right? Listen up.
7397.
Listen up.
7397. Let us know if we need to escalate that on our end somehow, because I feel like this issue has not gotten any better in the last week or two. I would recommend escalating it now, because the response I got last time was so lukewarm, and I haven't heard anything since.
You just heard. I'm going to play it one more time because I want to videotape that, right?
391 David. 791 David. I get to by number Roosevelt, Reading, Green, 491 Adam here. Green line 08597 and red line 08598. 7697 Charlie. 797 Charlie. Just make a note that the grand red line station radio is terrible again. Alright, time for it. 7397
Let us know if we need to escalate that on our end somehow, because I feel like this issue has not gotten any better in the last week or two.
I would recommend escalating it now, because the response I got last time was so lukewarm, and I haven't heard anything since.
Hey, Michael.
What's this in the news?
Headlines at the tollways. Next reports at 5:08. News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Partly mostly cloudy skies for this evening. A low 34. Some clouds and sun tomorrow. Breezy day, high 43. Right now, cloudy skies, 38 degrees at 4:59.
CPD radios are bad. Ran red line. They made complaints and nobody's fixing it.
Chicago's news, traffic, and weather station. News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Coming up in the next half hour on News Radio WBBM.
It could be a little easier for Chicagoans to drop a dime on illegally parked trucks under a change that's in drive at City Council. I'm political editor Jeff Buckles at City Hall.
Meantime, members of Mayor Johnson's budget team explain their reasoning for the delay of a key pension payment. And a new message from Savannah Guthrie, a plea for the public's help in locating her missing mother, believed to have been abducted more than a week ago. The latest next from CBS News. Sports, the Bulls on the road to take on the Nets in Brooklyn in business.
I'm Tom Busby at Bloomberg. More gains today on Wall Street on a rebound in the tech sector. The Dow up 20, notching a fresh record closing high. The Nasdaq up 207, the S&P up 33.
Cloudy tonight, low 34, 38 degrees now. CBS at 5 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Cammie McCormick. Today Show host Savannah Guthrie made another appeal today to the public to help find her missing mother.
We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help.
She did not mention a deadline or a ransom, and CBS's Andres Gutierrez reports authorities don't appear to have much to go on.
They still don't have a suspect. There is no person of interest or any suspicious vehicles that have been tied to this investigation.
She was last seen on January 31st. Jeffrey Epstein's former companion, Ghislaine Maxwell, invoked her Fifth Amendment rights today and refused to answer questions from members of the House Oversight Committee. Representative Jasmine Crockett of Texas said there are others they'd like to question.
We need to make sure that there's not some cabal that is operating currently and still engaging in this type of behavior.
Maxwell's attorney indicated she would talk if granted clemency. Committee Chairman James Comer.
What she said today, she's asked for clemency from the president. So I personally don't think she should be granted any type of immunity or clemency.
At the Justice Department today, some lawmakers got a look at unredacted Epstein files. CBS's Scott McFarland reports.
3 million pages of files have been released. We are still trying to make our way through those. Members of Congress can look at some of the other 3 million, but I think needle in a haystack is a charitable way of trying to describe what they're looking for or going to find.
Wendy Gillette reports there are 2 trials getting underway, raising questions about social media sites and their impact on kids.
A lawyer for a 20-year-old woman accuses Meta and YouTube of engineering addiction in children in a trial that's underway in a Los Angeles court. She claims severe mental harm because of social media addiction as a child. The state of New Mexico is also suing Meta, accusing the company of misrepresenting the safety of its platforms. Attorney Donald Migliori.
Meta put profits over safety.
The state accuses Meta of creating a breeding ground for child sex predators. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
Public school teachers in San Francisco have gone on strike. It's the first such strike in nearly 50 years. Nurses at 2 major hospital systems in New York City have reached a deal to end a nearly month-long strike. Nurse Patrick Klein.
We want to get back in there. We want to take care of our patients.
The agreement still needs approval by union members. On Wall Street today, stocks finished higher. The Nasdaq was up by 207 points. The Dow Jones Industrials finished the day 20 points higher. This is CBS News.
Real crimes, real justice.
So nurses are on strike. I'm trying to get me some hot tea here. And we're going to go hit this crime scene at the CTA Pink Line, right?
Can I please have a trick mission at the, where am I? The Grand Red Line. Yep, that's 08692.
So you heard, CPD doesn't fix the radios. What are they doing with all the money they have? Like, what they want to? They're making people turn each other in, right? Snitching on each other for parking, for tickets. So where's all the ticket money going? Where's all that money going? It doesn't even make sense. So where's all that money going? Where's all the money we pay for taxes every single day? It doesn't even make sense anymore with this city. It's like they're straight thieves right in front of us. They're stealing our money right in front of us. They're not even hiding it seems like, anymore. Let's try to get across this street here, right? I don't know if I'm going to be able to, but I might. We'll see. We're trying to get to the Damen stop here where there was just a stabbing on rush hour. It's a murder on Lake Street, Green. There was a guy trying to jump off the tracks on Pulaski, and now there's a stabbing over here. So that's where we're heading to, right? But you hear, right? We're not making pension payments. I don't know. I didn't turn on the news.
Cameras mounted on buses and other city vehicles. Alderman Brian Hopkins says he's concerned businesses up and down Wells Street in Old Town will have trouble getting deliveries since there's no alley.
I have no place to tell the trucks to go. What am I supposed to close all the restaurants?
The measure now goes to the full city council. We're at City Hall. Jeff Buckles, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Members of Mayor Johnson's budget team say their decision to make half of a planned advance pension payment was driven by delays in receiving other money and not an intent to ignore the budget enacted over the mayor's objections. Comptroller Michael Belsky told members of the Finance Committee today the city had to make more than $2.75 billion in payments in the first quarter and split the pension payments to help manage cash flow.
We had a first quarter with big outflows, which is normal. It's not anomalous. But we also had the delays in pension payments, or in property tax payments from the county.
Alderman expressed concerns that they first heard about the cash flow issues through news reports and that splitting the pension payment could affect the city's credit rating. The owner of the Chicago Tribune wants to acquire the Daily Herald, which is currently employee-owned.
Alden Global Capital said in a full-page ad in the Tribune, it can also offer the best terms for Herald employees. Tim Franklin, a Northwestern professor and chair of local news at the Medill School of Journalism, believes Alden's message means it's competing with multiple offers.
This full-page ad was Alden's attempt to try to make the pitch to employees of the Daily Herald, which own the Daily Herald, which is a very unique ownership structure in the U.S., to sell to them.
He points to a bid by Alden last year as a sign the hedge fund's reputation for aggressive cost-cutting may make this purchase difficult.
The old ownership of the Morning News actually took a lower offer from Hearst because they didn't want to sell to Alden.
Nancy Hardy, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Authorities are still digging into reports of a strange smell wafting across the Chicago area. Officials in the southwest suburb of Algonquin announced over the weekend residents have been reporting a chemical or burning electrical smell in the air. Authorities are still unsure where the odor is coming from. They say it may be coming from south of their community. 911 callers have reported smelling it from central Illinois to Indiana, even the Wisconsin border. Illinois lawmakers announcing a new bill this morning helping to close the school funding gap. State Senator Graciela Guzman introduced the bill. She says it would require Illinois to fully fund the evidence-based funding formula, which directs new money to the most underfunded districts in the state.
Evidence-based formula was designed to correct generations of disinvestment that have harmed Black and brown communities, rural communities, working class communities all across our state. But it only works if it's actually funded. This legislation means that students in Chicago, in the suburbs, and downstate would get what they need to learn and thrive.
Guzman says fully funding schools is how we protect public education. Well, a family is displaced after their home in west suburban Aurora caught fire last night. Crews responded to the two-alarm blaze around 9 p.m. near May and New York streets. Officials say 2 adults and 2 children were displaced by that fire. A teenager was taken to a hospital for treatment with smoke inhalation. 5:08, time to update traffic and weather today.
So, do you remember I told you the Ku Klux Klan stuff? These liberals? Well, think about this. Anybody ever visit any parts of Illinois besides Chicago and Schaumburg and Arlington Heights? Maybe you get out to North Chicago. Maybe you get out to Elgin. Maybe you go up to Antioch. I'm talking about really travel, like to Macomb, like the Marion, where I was fooling around over the last week. Or how about Cape Gardeau? You know where Cape Gardeau is? Yeah, there you go down there and see how that is. So this is what's going to happen. Chicago has a lot of money. A lot of money. And when you have a messed up liberal freak brain and who wants to destroy black and brown people and wants to remove them from Chicago, what would you do? You would take the money out of the school system and say, well, yeah, John, but that don't make no sense. She just said she wants to help black and brown. She goes, no, I want to make the funding equal. Well, you go down into some of those rural areas. I have friends that are teachers down there. They make, the top teacher grade is maybe 30 to 40 grand. You know what the median teacher grade here is in the money? Is 100 grand. So what's going to happen when you jump up and down like a goofball clown? Right? There you go. Right? There you go. There you go. SubX.News on the spot reporting. There you go. There's the ambulance, right? For the person stabbed, right? Someone stabbed here at SubX.News at the train station. There you go, right there. SubX.News, right here. On the spot reporting, someone stabbed the Pink Line. Let me get this on the Citizen app, right? SubX.News live reporting here. SubX.News live reporting. Damen Pink Line, 5:11 p.m. February 9th, 2026. Someone has been stabbed during rush hour on a CTA train. They're looking for a black male who ran from the station. He had a knife. He stabbed somebody, I believe, on the train. 5202, I believe, on the train car. The ambulance 34 is here now. I don't see any cops here yet. But then the cops might be chasing the guy. The guy ran from the chasing again. SubX.News live on the spot reporting of a man or a woman stabbed on the train here, CTA train. We just had a homicide underneath the Green Line this morning at 8:34 p.m. It was Uber related. A guy got out of an Uber car and got shot. But here, this is a stabbing. Yeah, this is a stabbing here on the CTA Pink Line. It just came across the radio. We're here. We're the only ones here. We're the only Chicago news station reporting on the violence in our city that's prevalent throughout every neighborhood, mostly affecting black neighborhoods and lower income neighborhoods, but mostly blacks are the victims of crime in our city here. And that's what you're witnessing here. Ambulance 34. Right? Report of a stabbing. There you go. There's no news stations out there. And this happens on a daily basis. And we don't even know how many of these crimes happen every day, right? In our city. Because a lot of them are covered up, right? It's just like the Epstein files, covering up crime, covering up pedophilia. It just happens on a daily basis in our country, right? Again, we're here at Damen Pink Line. It's 18th Street. Someone was stabbed on the train. The ambulance is here to pick the guy up or the woman up, whoever was stabbed here. We don't see nobody getting pulled out of the station yet, do we? Maybe they're providing service. I don't see no police here either. And they might be chasing the guy. I don't know. I'm going to try to keep the radio on. I got a live feed radio. And we'll see if they arrested somebody. But this is, again, a stabbing on the train, CTA train. That's what you're showing. So it's ongoing. It's every day. The problem in the city with the CTA violence is they allow criminals on the train. They allow drug dealing on the train. They allow vagrants on the train. They haven't fixed the situation since that lady got burned alive. They haven't. If anything, it's gotten worse. They allow anybody and everybody to walk onto these trains. We just had a report on Pulaski Green Line where a guy was saying he's going to commit suicide. He was going to jump off. He was hanging off the rails or something. I don't know what he was doing, so. There we go. Let me get out of the way here, right? So we don't get a ticket, right? And we can see what happens here with this ambulance, right? And they allowed the drug use. The liberals allowed the drug use. So that's why, I remember I told you, my wife says it's self-genocide. Why would you allow why do you allow a drug addict or a criminal or whatever to have drugs and stuff? It's called abstinence. That's how you get off of drugs, by not doing drugs. But these liberals, the ultra liberals, are giving the pipes, the drugs. In San Francisco, there's a guy, Kevin Dalton. He witnessed them giving them drugs in a church, that they were allowing drug dealing happening in a facility. It's called harm reduction, where they were giving out the pipes and the needles, and there was somebody in the corner doing drug dealing, right in a government church facility, right? NGO. And that's what we're witnessing here, right? There was somebody riding on the train with a knife. There was some kind of a fight here, and somebody got stabbed, right? And it's in the middle of rush hour. It's 5:15 p.m. in Chicago. So imagine you're coming home from school, you're coming home from work, you're going to visit somebody, and now you got some stabbing on the train, right? I believe it was train car 5202. I don't know if it was coming from downtown or not. It looks like the trains are running, though. You see the train up there? So they didn't stop the train. The trains are running, so. Again, CTA Pink Line stabbing. SubX.News Live.
Frequency mode.
We haven't seen them get out of the ambulance yet, have we? I haven't. Again, you're watching live coverage of a stabbing on the Pink Line. It did happen on the train. Where did they say it happened? They said, I don't know if it was coming from or if it was coming from downtown or going through downtown. It happened on the train, and then when it stopped here, the guy got off and ran down. He's the guy around, a black male with a knife, ran around. He's somewhere running around in his neighborhood here. Right. So there's somebody who stabbed somebody on the train, and he's running around the neighborhood right now, right? That's not a good thing.
Last night, as assistant head coach, helped Mike McDonald's Seahawks win Super Bowl 60.
Just a great compliment to my skill set, to my personality. He's such a great connector with the players, such a great communicator. He calls our bluff when we're full of crap on defense, when we do stupid stuff and game planning, which happens probably too much more than we want. But he's been tremendous.
Frazier is the only 85 Bear still working in the NFL, and he is, once again, on the winning side of a big game over the Patriots. Rick Gregg, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Super Bowl 61 will be played on Valentine's Day next year. In the meantime, it's on to the NFL offseason. The Combine is 2 weeks away. The Bulls are back in action tonight. They'll take on the Nets in Brooklyn. That's a 6:30 start, tuned to 104.3.
We just got confirmation this was all with a knife. There are lacerations to the face and a cut to the left hand. Laceration for the face, cut to the left hand, 10-4.
Lacerations to the face and cut to the right hand. You just heard it live. That's a live radio call.
That's the one from Pink Line at Damen. They do have an offender in custody.
Offender in custody. So let's go down the street. We might be able to see where the arrest happened, right? Because they did say he got off. So let's go see if we can find a person arrested here, right? There you go, right? There's somebody arrested somewhere here, so there you go, right? So we're gonna go see where the person's arrested at, right? Because they said he jumped off the train. So let's go see if we can see where the person's arrested at, right? That's fresh off the radio. And we'll see, you might have ran down a side street or something here and into an alley, so we're gonna have to look around. We're gonna have to keep looking, right? I'm gonna have to maybe get I might have to stop and listen to the radio a little bit and see where the location of the arrest is, right? I don't see that. It might be in an alley here. There's alleys all up and down here.
Number for Cumberland Blue Line. Yeah, that is 08850.
All right, citizen, if we figure out where this guy's arrested, we'll go back online. I'm going to have to go back to the radio recordings and see where the guy was arrested, all right? So we just had a stabbing on a CTA Pink Line, rush hour. That's what you just witnessed. We're going to try to figure out where this guy's arrested at.
Unison 7 in City Wagon, a person with a gun, 6558 South Lastman, 6558 South Lastman. The caller said she's having domestic battery with the boyfriend, male black, Damani Martin. He slapped the caller with a gun and left in the black truck. She's refusing EMS, no further on 6 Square.
We're going to pull over somewhere over here and try to figure out where that arrest happened, right? There you go, the community center that's closed. The NGO that's closed. Here, that's an NGO, Community Violence Center, right there, it's closed. While there's violence happening, right? Alright, let's get some back calls here. That's community center right there.
Our top story this hour, a sizable reward is being offered for information leading to an arrest in the murder of a Chicago City worker.
CTA stabbing on Pink Line.
Much more on the story coming up at 5:31. Well, state leaders are expanding a program they say will help to jumpstart job creation and economic development across Illinois. The stop in Belleville today, Governor Pritzker announced the expansion of the state's Star Bonds program, allowing local governments to help finance developments that create jobs, tax revenue, and are considered to be in the public interest. The governor said the expansion of the program has impressed some major companies and employers.
We met with them and we presented what the new effort in Illinois, the new economic development effort in Illinois looks like. One of them raised his hand. He said, you know, I've been around this industry for 30, 40 years, and not since Governor Jim Thompson have I seen this much dynamism in the opportunity to do business in the state.
The legislation would not apply to projects in Chicago or any tied to the Bears. It's 5:21.
Having diabetes.
All right, let me get to the radio calls. I gotta figure out where they arrested this guy, right? Might be anywhere. It's gotta be right around here. Let's hear if I can figure out where they arrested this guy, right?
Yep, 08871.
4605, we're gonna monitor that.
That's fine.
7383.
7383.
Yes, well, good afternoon. Let me get a number for red line check 95th. Dan. Henry 301 Sam.
Henry 301 Sam.
They do have a train stopped over there on Green Line Pulaski.
Alright, Tubber. Did you see this guy at all?
Can't see anything. Above the train there is a platform, so we're not sure if he's, on top of that. 01 Sam, I have people swapping rail cars at that Pink Line 18th Street. I still don't see that male black with the purple jacket.
Alright, Tubber. 12th District's pulling up at Damen right now. Hopefully we'll get some more info here in a second.
Alright, yes, 10-4. It looks like the rail conductor just had isolated that rail car, so I'm not sure if that gentleman still there. I want to...
Ever. There we go. Okay, 701 Sam. Sounds like he fled the station on foot. They said he was last seen southbound, and that is a good description. Male black, purple coat, white shoes.
Southbound around. Yeah, trying to stay in service inbound, and then I think I have EMS there at the Damen stop now. We'll conduct some playback. Did they say what station stop to get off? Was it Damen?
Yeah, Damen, yep.
Alright, 10-4. We'll try to take a look behind it.
Oh.
Send me 383 George.
Hey, George.
Roosevelt going eastbound from Central, bus number 8872.
Ready. This is 085.
391 David.
791 David.
I get two of my numbers, Roosevelt, red and green, full 91, Adam here as well.
Green line 08597.
7397.
Alrighty, yep. 7397.
Let us know if we need to escalate that on our end somehow, because I feel like this issue has not gotten any better in the last week or two.
I would recommend escalating it now, because the response I got last time was so lukewarm, and I haven't heard anything since.
99.
Where's the pepper?
Check question, please. 387 Adam.
87 Adam.
Sorry, can I get an event number for...
Alright, it's going to be 08632. This is 27 today by first.
Really?
87 Charlie.
The trip mission at Logan Square, Blue Line, please.
It's 08639. 08639.
6.
Alright, unit trying to come in?
Charlie.
83 Charlie, go ahead.
Bed number 79th Street, red line, please.
08646. 08646.
Yep. 7386.
7386.
Definitely flash. Show myself, Adam, Boy, Charlie, and David on a trip mission. Red line, Grand Station. 7383. Adam and Boy.
783.
Let me get a number 95 red line.
Available unit.
Yep, that is 086.
Again, the fire 101 6821 South Halsted, 6821 South Halsted. We're getting a CFD 101.
6821 fire 101.
6821 South on Halsted, 6821 South on Halsted for a combative psych patient.
Combative psych patient, 68th and Halsted, fighting the EMS. Cullerton and Wood, that's where they arrested him. Damn it, I missed that one, huh? Where's Cullerton and Wood? It's in back of me, right? Cullerton and Wood's where they arrested him, right? We're gonna head on over there.
Alright, just to hear from the Damen Pink Line, they actually do have the guy in custody with a positive ID. They also have a victim as well.
So we're Cullerton and Wood. Here's Wood. Cullerton's north of here, right?
You know where they placed him in custody?
Cullerton and Wood.
Cullerton and Wood, 10-4.
They're probably gone by now.
Really, I want that information.
Yeah, good.
There's Wood. Cullerton's up there.
The victim was actually cut, or was it just from a punch? How did they sustain an injury?
You know, they did pull it for a 0420, so it may have been some.
You know where they placed him in custody?
Cullerton and Wood.
Cullerton and Wood, 10-4.
So we missed it. We should have went east.
I want that information.
Yeah, good.
Hey, did you know if that victim was actually cut, or was it just from a punch? How did they sustain an injury?
You know, they did pull it for a 0420, so it may have been something with a knife here. You want the ID? Alright, John King, 143775. 143775. 043-775, and it's 08486. 08486.
You need everybody else going over to the CFD 101682 South Hospital.
7386 boy.
Slow it down.
786 boy.
South Hospital.
Can I please have a trick mission at the, where am I? The Grand Red Line.
Yep, that's 08692.
Boy, thank you.
He was right by the damn park district, that killer. The killer went, they stabbed her. Cullerton and Wood, as he went by the school. There's a park district where little kids go. What a scumbag that guy is. See that there? Cullerton, right here is where he got arrested. Cullerton and Wood. There you go, man. Cullerton and Wood, right there, man. That's where they...
Number 5204.
5204 car number. This is where they put him in custody. There you go, Cullerton and Wood.
We're going to take a ride from over here to Jeff Park on the blue line. Can I get a number?
There's a park right here. So the dude stabbed somebody who's running around a park. Look at that crap. What a criminal con man, creep, man. See that? That's what criminals do. Oh, be nice to the criminals. Oh, trauma treatment. Oh, yeah, he's a victim. He's a victim. He was abused when he was a child. And there you go. There's a park district right there. Running around. He stabbed somebody on our trains. Think about this. Dude stabbed somebody on our trains during rush hour, right? He probably didn't pay to get on the train. So he's a scofflaw, rip-off, con artist. Stabbed somebody on the train during rush hour. And then he runs by a park district and they're going to say he's the victim, right? There you go, man. SubX.News. There you go. That's what you got. Criminals running around doing crap in our city.
Lunch 1145 West.
There you go. Stabbing on the CTA, baby. SubX.News. You won't get that news on the main channel. They ain't gonna tell you that. The Ku Klux Klan media, ain't gonna tell you that. They ain't gonna tell you that. Yeah, they're the Ku Klux Klan, the media in Chicago.
There are lacerations to the face.
Here, this is the stabbing. Listen up.
7373.
738.
Even number 69 red.
Let's listen to the news.
Tonight to take on the Nets in business.
More gains for Wall Street to kick off the new week. The Dow closing 20 points higher at a fresh record high. The Nasdaq up 207. The S&P up 33. I'm Tom Busby at Bloomberg.
Look at how empty it is here. Feels it. 18th Street.
34 degrees. Right
wiped out. Gentrification wiped this whole area out.
31. The news
Crap.
is sponsored by Jewel Osco. Authorities offering a $10,000 reward after a City of Chicago employee was found shot to death in her home.
Chicago's Office of Emergency Management and Communications says DJ Flowers was a senior administrative assistant assigned to their investigations division. She previously worked for the Department of Public Health. The 36-year-old was found shot to death inside her Westridge apartment on Friday. Calling the shooting unacceptable, the Cook County Crime Stoppers is offering the reward with no one in custody at this time. Haley Hansen, News Radio 1059 WBBM.
Chicago aldermen and members of Mayor Johnson's budget team played follow the money today as City Council asked about a controversial pension payment.
The budget approved by aldermen and enacted without the mayor's signature calls for the city to make a $259 million payment to pay down the debt in city worker pension funds. But the city only made half that payment at the start of the year, and Chief Investment Officer Craig Slack told members of the Finance Committee that an ongoing delay in getting property tax money from Cook County prompted the decision to split the payment.
When there's uncertainty, it brings a lot of risk to bear on how you manage the money.
Downtown Alderman Brendan Riley, who's also running for county board president, asked Slack about assurances that the county's issues with its new computer platform have been resolved.
How much faith are we putting in that statement?
I do not believe the system has been fixed.
The second half of that pension payment is expected in the middle of the year. We're outside City Council chambers. Jeff Buckles, News Radio 105.9.
Another store empty. Look at
State
that.
lawmakers have identified closing the school funding gap
There you
as
go.
a top
See that?
issue, and are hoping a new
Shut
bill
down
will turn
businesses,
things in the right
18th
direction.
Street. See
The
that
new
there?
legislation would require Illinois
that.
to fully fund the evidence-based
Shut down.
funding formula, which directs new money to the most
Look at that. All
underfunded
those
districts in the
businesses
state,
shut
as
down.
well as mandated categoricals. Senator Graciela Guzman says the bill ends a system where districts are forced to choose between complying with the law and meeting the basic needs of students.
Illinois requires schools to meet critical obligations like special education services, transportation for students with disabilities, and other mandated categoricals. These are not optional. And if we require...
She's the Ku Klux Klan, that lady. Ku Klux Klan, listen to
The
her.
legislation would address issues
Listen.
like delayed hiring of staff and choosing between investing in things like education and nutrition.
Evidence-based formula was designed to correct generations of disinvestment, but it only works if it's actually funded. This legislation means that students in Chicago, in the suburbs, and downstate would get what they need to learn and thrive.
Carolina Garibay, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Cubs fans will see Anthony Rizzo in a new role this season.
NBC announced during its Super Bowl pregame show that Anthony Rizzo will join its new Major League Baseball coverage as a pregame analyst.
So you heard. The Hispanic, Latina, progressive, DSA, whatever you call her, right? Says we gotta equalize the money. Well, if CPS gets $10 billion a year and the rest of the state probably doesn't get that much, then what are they gonna do? They're gonna take CPS money. That's what's gonna, it's like the secret, did you guys see the secret bill that they tried to pass the other day? Or they're passing in Springfield? City employees don't have to pay their property tax. Did you see that one or not yet? You haven't seen that one yet? These people are criminals. They're I wouldn't be surprised if they're part of the drug dealing. I would not be surprised to get kickbacks for that. Seriously, there's a state law they're trying to pass that says Chicago municipal employees don't have to pay their property taxes. They would be excused from it. I think they say excuse or late. Look it up. I posted it. It's a secret thing they put down in the middle of last week at night. I think it was on a Friday. They call it a Friday dump, news dump. That's some criminal stuff there.
The U.S. forces have boarded another Venezuela-linked oil tanker.
U.S. forces seized another oil tanker overnight, but this time in the Indian Ocean, after tracking it for weeks from the Caribbean. The Aquila is now the 8th oil tanker the Trump administration has interdicted as part of its quarantine on sanctioned vessels headed in and out of Venezuela. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said today that a few tankers left the Caribbean around the time the quarantine was put in place back in December, and that the only instruction he gave to commanders was none of them are going to get away. The Aquila is now the tanker that has gotten the farthest before forces seized it, with the second farthest being the Bella that was interdicted just off of Iceland in January. Eleanor Watson, CBS News, Washington, D.C.
We'll look at traffic, weather, and some low gas prices in the area coming up next.
There you go. You got people selling illegal oil, drugs, crime, weapons. Lock them up. And where are those Epstein files? And like I said earlier, I think that's a theatrical thing. So now this is what Trump's gonna say. Oh, do you want me to commute her sentence so we can hear the truth? Well, forget her. She's in prison. Why don't you release the documents? She already went to court. Think about this. Think about how corrupted the system is. Ghislaine Maxwell went to court. Those are court documents. Why aren't we releasing those documents? It says everything she did. What is she got? Well, so a criminal is holding the country hostage because of pedophiles. Forget her. Hold her in contempt of Congress. That's it. Say she's protecting criminals, lock her up, give her another 20 years sentence. She's what, 40, 50 years old? Give her another 20 years, she dies in prison. That's it. What they're saying, though, is Epstein, since he was a spy with the IDF, everybody knows what IDF is, Israeli Defense Force. He was a spy. There's a document about it. That he's actually living, and now they're starting to find that some of the video of the prison is altered, that he might not be dead. That he might not be dead. That's a conspiracy theory, but man, these dudes, These are people who blackmail kings and queens and princesses, man, right? They might bring down the UK government. You know, the UK is going to go, the prime minister might have to step down in the next few days. It's a little bit related to this, but not all related to it, but it is. So you're going to see that in the news. I just posted it, and now other people are talking about it. So I heard some scuttlebutt last night on some places, and I posted it, and people made fun of it. Okay, you can make fun of whatever you want to do, but these people are very powerful people. They're very powerful. They know the answers before that you ask the question. And that's where we're at. Just like the CTA stab in there. So the CTA is unsafe. I don't know what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to head home. I'm going to process everything that I did today. I think we've been on since 4 o'clock. Right? That's a pretty long time. I've been on for about an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes. So we're going to go home. Maybe I'll let me play some radio calls here. If there's something that came up, then I'll go hit it. But if not, I'm probably going to go have some dinner tonight. I'm trying to stay in shape. I'm a little overweight, so I need to take care of that. Let's do some radio calls.
Yep, 08871.
Okay, 383 George.
783 George.
It's Quet.
Alrighty, have fun.
4754.
4754.
Can I get a CTA track Western Blue, please?
Never.
Unavailable units in 7 and any available units. We're getting a fire 10-1, 6821 South Halsted, 6821 South Halsted. We're getting a CFD 10-1.
Sorry, I got fire 10-1, 6821 South on Halsted, 6821 South on Halsted for a combative psych patient.
Alright, anybody else going over to the CFD 10-1, 6821 South Halsted, you can slow it down. Once again, slow it down, 6821 South Halsted.
Alright, can slow it down to that EMS 10-1, 6821 Halsted, slow it down for the EMS 10-1.
4383.
793.
733 squad, so we got 79, the red line.
791 Damen. That is 08960.
7383A.
090. 793.
Can I get a vent number for a red line check and roll call?
Yeah, that is 08968.
7383 Adam boy.
783.
Vent number red line 95.
There you go.
That is
Damen silos are gone, man. See that there? The Damen silos are gone. You guys know that?
391 Adam.
91 Adam.
Damen silos are gone. Let me show you this.
Yep, that's 08983.
Look at that. They're gone, man. Look at that. Damen silos are gone. Oh, it's beautiful out. It's like 40 degrees out. There you go. Damen silos are gone. There you go.
David.
791 David.
Squad, can I get a suffer to that number for a street stop over here at Roseville Green?
Yeah, that is 09066. Maybe 3213 coming out tonight.
3220. No, we're just gonna have 1415 tonight.
Okay, thank you, sir. 3214 then. You check a crash, 1800 south in the southbound. Should be a black Buick LaCrosse.
You want me to give you a call right now, Marietta? I'll give you a call. See what's going on. Damen silos are shut down, right? What's going on here?
Charlie. 78 Charlie. 1 number 79 Street, red light, please. Yep, it is 09089.
No. No, you asked me to call you. You're on live. If you don't want to talk, then you don't talk. But you're on live, Marietta. What's up?
Well, I'm at the hospital with my brother.
Oh, well, yeah. I'm sorry that you're going through that stuff.
Yeah, he'll be all right, goddamn.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. What else is going on?
The same stuff.
All right. Because I know you said you wanted me to give you a call, so.
Yeah.
So that,
what you doing later? Maybe you call me later.
Oh, I'll give you a call later? Okay.
Yeah, call me back later.
All right, I'll give you a call back later. Take it easy. Bye.
Love you.
All right, love you. Bye.